Here we are. There's a wonderful picture there of the Morila plant. You can see how big it is. This is a 4.5 million ton a year plant. And what we're going to do is we're going to fire it up and get it going like it used to be in its prime 10 years ago. Okay, we won't worry about that. So basically what we've acquired from Barrick and Anglo Gold is a fantastic opportunity. And we've managed to get it for a very, very good price, probably around 27 million US. So what we've got is we've got something that's producing gold now. And as you can see from the plant and the amount of drilling we're inheriting a workforce, we're leveraging off sunk capital. This is not like other West African developments, which are wonderful, and I've been shareholders of them, where people drill something out and then they have to go and raise money, and the company is encumbered by large amounts of debt or very large capital raisings to get into production. This gives us immediate cash flow and gets us going straight away. Now, the other thing I want to show you is why I'm a geologist. I love rocks, I love mines, and I've been involved in some big gold deposits, Kanana Bell, Sunrise in the early days. And this is a beast. It's a big, big, big mine, and it's going to get bigger. We've already got 1.3 million ounces, and we're going to grow that. The first step of that growth is through the tailings that we have, but we'll bring in little satellite pits, which I'll show you later. They've been mined before, and they will allow us to lift production and provide a bridge to bringing in that big pit that you can see in the bottom left, right there, that's filled with water. So the exploration potential as well, we consolidate existing Morila Lithium ground with Morila ground to create nearly 700 square kilometers of ground. And frankly, there's been really no meaningful work for more than a decade. So where we are, I won't spend too much time in this. Most of you would be familiar that West Africa has a fantastic growing gold industry. Morila was one of the first 20 years ago. It was originally BHP, then Randgold, now Barrick. But some of those mines are fantastic, and some of you have probably been shareholders in the companies associated with those mines. Mali is a mature mining destination. Now, one of the things I do want to address is the political situation in Mali. Now, many people talk about sovereign risk, and it's really interesting. What we've just had is a practical example in sovereign risk in Mali. We had a military coup. Now, while it's not something you condone, we now have an appointed civilian government. Well, all the ministers have just been appointed. But basically, when talking to the mine manager at Morila, he said, what coup? Made no difference to the mining operations. So sovereign risk in a business is all about business continuity, and it had no impact. So let's move on. We'll look at the tailings dam. What the guys are doing here is they're using big hydraulic cannons to mine and slurry up the tailings, take them to the plant and retreat them, and that's what they're producing gold at, depending on grade and throughput. It's been between 50 and 60,000 ounces annual rate of production. And we started to look at ways in which we might extend the life of that tailings operation. Currently, it's due to finish in May. We would slow it down if we brought in satellite pits at the same time. But we may also get more tons out of that tailings dam. We're doing some stuff now with the guys on site to how we might look at that. But here's the prize. There's the Morila plant from the air. So this, as I said earlier, this is a major strategic advantage. It's a big plant, 4.5 million ton a year. It needs love and attention. We've been through it. And the only area where there's any issue is the power station. The power station is 20 years old. Some of you may have seen Resolute had a similar power station at Syama, 200 kilometers away. I've just done a deal with an independent power provider to replace that power plant. We'll probably do something the same and maybe even have a temporary power solution. But other than that, it's really relatively minor issues with the plant. And again, these little images just give you a feeling for the things that we have there. It's a huge amount of infrastructure. You can see the power station bottom left, very large, fuel tanks, everything's there. 400 people there today making this thing work and produce gold bars. This is not a startup. It's an ongoing operation. It has everything you would expect of a remote mine site. People, security, financial staff, HR, all those things are there. The two things that are missing are mining and geology, because they haven't been mining for 10 years. They've only been treating stockpiles and tailings, and we're building those teams now, and hopefully I'll be able to talk to you in the next few weeks about the success we hopefully will be having and bringing some people on board. Now if we come to one of my favorite slides. So this is a cross section through the big Morila pit. You can see there's a wee bit of water in it. That's just pumping. It'll be to get to the first levels for mining and drilling will take about 3 or 4 months, and about the same in dollars to achieve. But you can see in there, Morila the Gorilla, the purple high grade, steeply dipping on the right, ore body that drove the pit. And its second year of production, it did more than 1 million ounces. A made of mine was there in the early days. It was head grade 1 week was 80 grams. This was a fantastic mine, and it's something we mustn't lose sight of. But what you can see here is outside the pit, there's been a lot of drilling. And we put this is an old Anglo Gold model from 2008. We're currently doing a more geologically driven one. But you can see there's a conservative pit. It's a 1250 US an ounce pit. That's $700 an ounce or so less than today's price. And within that pit, there was 1.3 million ounces fell in that pit. We're currently redoing all that in a much more sophisticated way from first principles, and we'll be coming back to you with all that information when it's completed. But the cross section's a kilometer across. This is a big ore body. Now, the satellite pits you can see there, they're quite important. I call them a bridge to the main Morila pit. We've got the tailings. We bring in these satellite pits. There's 3 that have already been mined. They did over 100,000 ounces. 2 of those were actually found by this company and sold to Randgold in the past. You can see they're quite small. We're working on them right now. We've got preliminary resource estimates, which we'll pull together and release shortly. We're doing mine designs, and we can have equipment back in there very quickly. There's haul roads there. There's relatively little to do to get them back in production and supplement that tailings production. It'll displace tailings, therefore extending the life and lift the grade as well compared to the very low grade tailings. We're also going to look at the Coating deposit, something that we found on adjacent ground, and we'll be drilling that very, very soon. But here we go. Here's the big beast, Morila the Gorilla. And you can see the pit there, the waste dumps in the background, and the big pit, 1.6, I think, by 700 meters across. It's big, but there's been nothing done here since about meaningful since probably 2008, really. And that is the big opportunity for us. And this is a slide that I love. Again, a kilometer across cross section. You can see here to the left, the first benches that will be the first mining in the Morila pit probably could be about a year from now, maybe a bit earlier. We'll see what the plan looks like. And a bucket load of intersections just below the pit floor and places on the pit floor. So I think there'll be ore exposed once we get the first mining benches there. But if you look inside the pit, look at that drill hole, those drill holes in, off to the right, 7 inside the pit and mined. What's that? I need my glasses. 84, isn't it, at 11 grams? I'd suggest you if we were a junior company and drilled that hole tomorrow, we'd be a $100 million company overnight. But look at the intersections off to the right that are outside of the pit. This is the high-grade extensions of the Morila pit. They're a bit noisy. They're not continuous. But that's the limit of the drilling, chasing Morila the Gorilla. 56 meters at 5 grams and 20 at 4.5. Not bad. We know this is a big high-grade mine in the past, but the geology is hard. I'm a geologist originally. I think I'm pretty clever. When I first went and looked at the drill core, I walked past the intersection in the drill hole. I couldn't see it. These are subtle deposits. A lot of smart people have looked at them, but the advantage we have is a gold price. It enables us to look at this in a different way. Lower cutoffs allow continuity and much more drilling. We're going to throw a lot of drilling at this over the next few years. We're already between resources and past production at something like 8.5 million ounces. This will kill 2 million ounces, 10 million ounces. It's really, really exciting. To me, this is the main game, is the Morila pit. And where does it go? We're well on the way on resource and reserve estimates. We're using world-class consultants and our own people for Morila itself, the tailings, the satellite pits. Once we get Morila up and running, 4.5 million ton a year plant filled with hard rock ore. Then we're going to have a production profile that looks more like a mid-tier than what we are today.